Oh man, this is wild. Okay, I got this from the Soul Times, July 28th. Well, today's July 27th, so this I'm getting this a day early. You're getting it today. Now, there's this article by Jagrarja. So I can't get this name, so I'm not going to try to big bunk. Jugraj. Don't know how to pronounce it, but he's a special correspondent. Now, his title is Asian Pacific. Why Asians are the model minority for the American establishment. Now, when I looked at it, I'm like, what kind of bootlick article is this going to be? Are they going to show how Asians are model bootlickers? And the way he broke it down, I have a better understanding now. Oh my goodness. This guy has a great sense of humor in breaking this down. Oh my goodness. Hold on to your pantyhose if you have any, and let me get a little agua. Now, he starts off with a quote with Malcolm X. And he breaks down a different type of Negro, but he goes into Negro going past being black, but putting it in a minority status and then taking it outwards to different ethnicities. Well written, I must say, well written. So he starts off with Malcolm X saying, "We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us," right? Then Malcolm X goes on to describe two types of Negroes, or two categories of minorities: the field Negro and the house Negro. Two, and you see this played out every day. The field Negro and the house Negro. The field Negro was in the majority, but could not be trusted by the slave owners because he hated his master and was dangerous and made trouble for them, resented being abused. The house Negro, on the other hand, was in the minority, loved his master, was a complete sellout, and therefore could be trusted by the slave owner and would actually help the slave owner to oppress the slaves so that he could protect his special status. Or in other words, Samuel L. Jackson gives a beautiful performance in his house Negro named Stephen in Quentin Tarantino's The Django Unchained. What the American establishments want for minorities is for them to aspire to become a house Negro. You get, I am stunned to see this in Soul Times. And this person has a firm understanding of the inner workings of the United States and the inner workings of how everything is set up. White, then you have, as they call house Negroes, blacks, namely women, then you have Asians, and then it goes down. The way he broke this down is just great. Okay, if I had an opportunity to meet Brother Malcolm, I would like to tell him that 2 additional categories should be added for Asians: backyard Negro and the porch Negro. Oh my goodness. Asians get a start off much closer to being a house Negro than any other minority because the establishment sees us as non-threatening, submissive, docile, anti-traditional minority groups and trust us to eventually sell out. what differentiates Asians from other minorities is that we focus on remaining within the system and making high academics and professional achievement in contrast to blacks. Asians are thankful to be allowed to land on Plymouth Rock. Whoa. A backyard Negro and a porch Negro. You can't, it explains a lot for me. It explains a whole lot. The establishment gives traditional minorities, Black, Latinos, and Natives, a much lower status of field Negro because they historically struggled against racism and used armed resistance. Muslims post 9/11, 2021 or 2001, field has been pushed so far away from the field that and into the forest. Hence, they can be termed forest dwelling Negroes. Blacks and Latinos have derogatory terms for whites such as cracker, gringo, respectively. Asians, specifically Punjabis, take pride in naming their sons Angrelj, which means white man. Wow. Asians. Woo. Okay. Similarly, among the greatest compliment of North India a girl can receive is that she has Gora Rang, a fair skin color like that of a white woman. Wow. Asians are the model minority because we make the establishment rich, do not cause problems for them, and generally do not support other traditional minority groups. Now that makes a lot of sense, even more sense, and this is what the affirmative action when you had the Asian students that couldn't get into Harvard or South Carolina University, and they had the whole entire affirmative action taken down for it to only bite them in the butt. Okay, porch Negro. Oh, man. Some reasons that Asians have become the way they do towards the establishments are that they feel it is a fair trade to live in America and to have a career in exchange for not speaking out against the establishment or siding with traditional minorities. Most wars which America has fought after the middle of the 20th century have been in Asia, and Asians are afraid to be seen as any resentment towards American war efforts. Asians have been humiliated in the previous centuries under colonialist rule, and their inability to stand up for themselves is rooted deeply in the Asian collective conscious. I will share my experience with others. So what I'm going to do, because this is a very long article. So I'm going to break it up into highlights because this points out a sitting senator, soon to be Secretary of State or something. And this points her out. And it tells why she did what she did. I couldn't believe it. But here we go. Okay. I will share some of my experience with other Asians. When I was in college, I became friends with a Japanese exchange student. His parents were doctors, and had a comfortable life in Japan, I would joke with him that while my dad is also a doctor, he would like other people from India, came to the U.S. to escape the global oppression. They had put impression, but oppression of Indians as being grossly overpopulated, poor, deprived, corrupt third world country for most people, but also a playground for the rich, the bureaucratic elite. But why was he here in Japan, was a rich, advanced capitalist country? To this, he answered, it was very difficult for a middle-class family to move upward mobile in Japan, and that getting a degree from American University had more value in Japan, and it would help him get a better job there. He once asked me if I could get him a Bible, and I asked him why. He wanted one because he and his family were Buddhist. He thought that if he studied it, it would help him fit in and receive better treatment from white Americans. And I told him if that were the case, Black, Latinos, and Native Americans, who were overwhelmingly Christian, would certainly be received better treatment by the whites. So it goes on, and let me look at this part until I get to the jaw dropper. When I was in medical school, I had a Chinese American class fellow whom I was discussing the Beijing Olympics with, and I told him that I predicted China would get more gold medals than the U.S., and that China saw the Olympics as a golden opportunity, pun intended, to show the world that it will surpass America's economically and militarily in the coming decades. He was right. He looked around and whispered that he should not have said this conversation publicly because it could offend white people. A friend who was Asian American and a doctor told me that when she went to fill out her husband's prescription at the local pharmacy, the pharmacist asked, "Does your husband speak English?" She asked him if that was a question that he routinely asked white patients as well. Another Asian doctor whom I befriended and who was in process of gaining a green card told him that her entire family is vegetarian, but she had to start eating fish and chicken to fit in with the white Americans. Wow. Okay. We, Black Americans, especially house Negroes, no, I'm sorry, not house Negroes, especially field Negroes, not house Negroes. House Negroes would agree with everything that you're doing. Field Negroes will call you a bootleg. I'm just saying. Growing up in Southern Asian community, I have seen how we have attempted to integrate and gain the trust of the establishment in order to prove ourselves worthy of becoming backyard Negroes. We must pledge our allegiance to the establishment by being willing to conform this conformity and demonstrate a conformity is demonstrated corruption of our value system. The Muslims who should least socially drink alcohol, the Hindus should give up vegetarianism, first experimented with fish and chicken, then mutton and pork, and eventually consume beef. The sheep has to lose the turban, to the long hair and the beard. If these respective criteria are met, the status of backyard Negro is awarded, and the establishment opens up possibilities of an ever higher status of a porch Negro. The requirements for a porch Negro can include giving up your mother tongue, having an angelicanized name, and be willing to marry a white person and convert to Christianity, preferably a Protestant or Catholic denomination. Sometimes not all of the criteria have to be fulfilled. Wow. Now I have a way better understanding. Oh my goodness. Because when I worked professional jobs, and I would work around all different types of nationalities. When it came to the Indian and the Asian, or basically the Asians, they were standoffish, look down at you, always be ready and willing to assist white people. Anything that needed to be done. Black people, cough on you and keep on walking around. But not all. I mean, they would be respectful about it, standoffish, wouldn't even be around you. And then you had some of those Asians who didn't prescribe to that, but were like, hey, we're here. So I find this article really, really interesting. Okay, but here is what I want to really get into, because now it's getting into U.S. politics and pointing people out. Oh, okay. The highest political position in South Asia, pure, not mixed, like dear Aunt Kamala Harris, have held are those of governors, ambassadors of India, and UN ambassadors. Surprisingly, all of the individuals have held these positions are Punjabi. The key to Punjabi success has been selling out to the establishment. Kamala Harris, she most definitely is a Punjabi. She sold out big time when she raised her hand. Yes, I'm a woman, I'm of color, and I'm Asian. I checked 3 boxes. I was done when she said that ignorant stuff. I said, what a bootlick. But okay. Let us observe the successful journey of our community heroes. I'm getting ready to butcher this name. Narata Round Hawa, a Jat. Jats are the socially dominant peasant community in Punjab. Converted from the Sikhism to a Protestant denomination of Christianity. Changed her name to Nikki Haley. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. She later became the governor of South Carolina and was appointed to UN ambassador by President Trump. Whoa. Nikki Haley, a Punjabi, a complete and utter sellout, according to them, to not be, now, she didn't want to be a backyard Negro. She wanted to be a porch Negro, and she achieved that based on what they said. Whoa. Okay. Nikki Haley came to Punjab in 2014. The party in power, Shiromani Akali Dal, I'm messing it up, a dominated public party, better known as the pressing mechanism, SAD, honored her and made sure to emphasize that her family is a Sikh, and they even publicly referred her by her name Nararata Karanawaha. I'm sorry, I'm messing up her name. Not once as Nikki Haley. It was amusing to me to see that she toured Shri Harandi Sahab, or the Golden Temple, as a VIP, but the Bhutto family, the leader of SAD, did not take her to any church in Punjab to interact with her Christian brothers and sisters. Nor was it ever mentioned, let alone questioned publicly, what her problems were with Sikhism and why she converted to Christianity, and, or at least to my knowledge, the Payush Jadal, a dark-skinned caste in northern India specializing in commercial money lending, converted to Catholicism, changed his name to Bobby, and married a white woman. He later became the governor of Louisiana of richer rule, Burma, converted to Christianity, and married a woman who recently looks more white than Indian, named Milena B, or known as Pinky. He later became the American ambassador to India, Dr. Ami Babulal Bura, converted to Christianity, and later became a representative of the state of California. Wow. This right here is some deep stuff. And it goes on and on about the Punjabis. And I'm just, this is a lot to take in. This is a lot to take in. So the Asians who come here and they want to be a part of the establishment, and they'll go as far as changing everything about them to be accepted by the establishment, by the white establishment, to gain a foothold and acceptance. Now, black people already have that house Negro status, and they normally use women, sometimes men, and the women become guard dogs and will destroy you if you do anything to upset the establishment. So I find this quite interesting. And now I understand the senator over there in California, Congressman Chow, how he does many things that undercut black people. So whatever he does, he's doing for the establishment. Okay. I'm going to put the article in the comments section. I'm sorry, in the description section. Take a look at it. So we have house Negro, field Negro, we have porch Negro, backyard Negro, and if you're Arab, you're back there at the forest Negro. Actually, you're beyond that. What do you think? You can't make this stuff up. But however, what I like for you to do is please like, subscribe, and if you don't like it, dislike it, subscribe, and then tell me why you don't like it. On that note, I want to thank you for stopping by.